Gang, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about the safety net of working your 9 to 5 job. A lot of people think that going into online fitness coaching comes with an element of risk. We are basically here going to tell you that that is kind of a little bit of a false narrative. We have Joe and Joe, the TCT gang, here today. I'm going to try and show a lot more of the TCT gang because everyone thinks that it's just me, but it's not. We have a killer team. So, do you want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah. Um, I think a few people will know me and recognize me, but yeah. I'm Joe One. um, Essentially specialize a little bit more on the side of the marketing, content, all that type of stuff. Been involved in TCT for a good while now, probably coming up to what second year full time. But obviously been involved a little bit longer than that in a part-time basis. But essentially inside TCT, I help coaches with how to market, how to get their brand out there, how to attract clients in the social media world, all that type of good stuff. So yeah, I'd say content marketing in a nutshell is essentially how you can kind of put me in that box. And then yeah, Senor Joe.
I'm Joe 2, or in other words, Mitten. That's easier. Otherwise, there's too many J's floating around. You'll recognize me from the community chat, the weekly Q&A, and a lot of the impact events. I like the in-person stuff. So anything community-based, anything with the in-person PTs as well, transitioning them from in-person to online is where I help the most. So if you're in that space or anything mindset-based as well, you'll probably be sent to a call with me.
You will indeed. But today we're going to be specifically
Like the
at the
ocean.
specific ocean. We're going to be talking about, I suppose, the perceived narrative of the 9 to 5 being like your safety net. Because I think a lot of people are scared, especially when they love fitness and they're thinking of starting to online coach. They're thinking, well, I can't do that because it's really risky, and I think that's false.
Mm.
Um, because the thing is with like taking things into your own hand is you have complete control. Whereas with a 9 to 5 role, and I'm sure you guys know people in the 9 to 5 space, like you can get made redundant, you can get sacked, like there's all of these things that could go on. But with online coaching, like you have that control. So everything that you actually do from a day-to-day perspective, you have a direct I suppose like outcome on that. So it means if you have really good inputs, like if you are really working hard and you have frameworks and you have a clear passion for fitness, you're getting client results. You're going to be driving revenue yourself. Um, so I think number one, probably like try and get yourself in a position of like technically being in a 9 to 5 at some level is not necessarily riskier, but it does hold risk, equated risk, maybe not. But it does hold risk.
Mm. I think like you hit the nail on the head then when you said it's
Thanks.
like you you it is essentially when you're self-employed or you run your own business is like people think, oh, it's a huge risk, but realistically you eliminate that risk because you essentially hold your destiny in your own hands.
Mhm.
Like you decide the direction which it goes, you decide the decisions that are made, and ultimately when you're working for somebody or you're working for a business, there are decisions that you are never involved in. Like they have, the managers meetings and stuff like that, and if the business isn't going in the direction it wants to, the first thing they look is where can we cut things, and it usually comes down to staff and employees. So, and as harsh as it sounds, is especially in the bigger corporate industries, which I know Joe works with, like a lot of those people, is that the disconnect between the top and the bottom. They don't care if you can't, if you can't survive on whatever the benefits are and stuff like that, if they cut you straight away. So there's that disconnect. Whereas if you are running your own business and you think, okay, I need to make X amount more money, I need to make these decisions to make that happen, it's on you, which that can feel like that's the risk, but it's really not, because essentially is like like I said, you just take it into your own hands and you can go and act accordingly. And there's nobody to kind of put barriers and restrictions in place for you to do that.
Mhm.
Um, I think it is just like kind of common thought process that people say, oh, being employed is safe, when we all know, like, we hear the stories of, when we've worked with clients or whatever, and they say, oh yeah, they've just laid off 10 staff, and they've cut my hours down, and it just came out of nowhere. Like, you don't have, as being a business owner, is like, you don't have that worry as such. So yeah, I mean, I think that's especially like one of the biggest sort of benefits, I would say, from being employed, as in self-employed for yourself, is that you are your master of your own destiny with regards to that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think touching on what Joe said is, if you're in the corporate setting, just because you do the work and you achieve a certain amount doesn't mean you'll always get the rewards. But also, a lot of the scope of the company, the direction it goes in, is based on decisions that are made way above wherever you're at in that company. Whereas when it's you working for yourself, if a bad month is happening, you have full power to go and make some decisions, and to step up and to do the work. And when the rewards happen, that feedback is directly to you, not the case of you're constantly doing the work, trying to show up for someone else, but then you're overlooked for promotions, you don't necessarily get the feedback you want, you're having to abide by certain rules within an office that don't work for you, the timings might not work. But when you work for yourself, things like having kids, being unwell, timings of things, family stuff outside of work, you're able to manage those a lot easier, because you can move your work around based on the hours that you have. So your whole life becomes what you need it to be to perform at the best level possible. You're not having to sit within someone else's time frame, someone else's bandwidth that doesn't work for you. If you're someone that can stay up super late and work really hard, you're able to do that. If you're someone that needs to lie in a little bit in the morning, you can do that. As long as the work gets done, you get that immediate feedback, rather than having trying to fit into someone else's remit and forcing a square peg into a round hole.
I think like there's obviously like risk with being an entrepreneur, especially an online fitness coach. And I think that not saying that is it's kind of like it's like false promise, right? Because there is like the difference between having a 9 to 5 and obviously going into online fitness coaching or just owning a business in general is like you do have that element of risk. But I think that like a lot of people, especially when they're in the 9 to 5 role, they think there's no risk in being in that 9 to 5 role. But there definitely is. But the other thing is like salary caps. Like how much you can actually earn from being in 9 to 5 role. To earn like 6 figures, for example, you have to be pretty high up in a certain role. Whereas like 9 to 5, like you need like 30, 40 clients, which is like something that like is not that difficult. It's difficult 100%. But you're like you can earn more with online fitness coaching. Obviously, you're gonna have to work hard. Um, there's not really any like salary cap. Like you don't have to suck your manager off to get a pay rise. Like that's on your own accord, and if you are doing that, it would be yourself. But
Does that help? Does it?
this is how I've scaled so quickly. Um, but like you have that element, and I think that like especially when I speak to people in the 9 to 5 realm, talking about money is like a bit of a weird thing, because it's like I can charge X and then I have this amount of clients and I can get to this revenue marker. Like you're saying numbers that they have like no idea about, like hitting a 10 grand month, for example, is not really like we see that all the
Yeah,
time
we
within
see that
TCG,
quite
right?
often, yeah.
But like some people in 9 to 5, they're just like to earn that within a corporate setting or to earn that in a 9 to 5 role, like you got to be doing some crazy job, right?
Yeah, yeah, like almost like commission based, really, more than anything, isn't it? Like in that, like I can't imagine there's many like 9 to 5 roles that would do that. Like, because even then is when you talk about like you'd have to be super high up. If you're super high up in a corporate role where you are earning 6 figures, you're not working 9 to 5, you're working around the clock usually. So at that point, it's like, why are you working round the clock for someone else to pay your wage when you could work round the clock for yourself and then triple that? That's the other way of looking at it as well. And like Joe touched on it then, is like you may say like I prefer to work weekends and have time off in the week. Not many places are going to do that, whereas when you work for yourself, you have that flexibility, you have that freedom. and that weighs in heavily. But I think the conversations when we've had with coaches who maybe have, like, they start with like a small client base and they're still working maybe a 9 to 5, then they start to realize, like, holy shit, like I'm working with 10 clients and I'm earning the same as my monthly salary. And they're like, so if I literally double what I do now, I'm double my salary and I'm working way less hours. And obviously the enjoyment aspect then comes into it, because it's like they're not having to literally be blocked out from 9 till 5 every day. They can split the day up, they can work earlier, have a break, work later, whatever they want to choose. And I think that's a huge, that's obviously the selling point of working for yourself and working in the online industry, is like that is a huge benefit. um but I think, yeah, like, we always get like, "Wow, you can earn that much from online coaches." Like, yeah, like, done right, done properly, yes, you can. And I think it's, again, it's that skew of people, like, just they from school, it's like you go to college or you go to an apprenticeship and you work in this job and you work in that, and it's just the natural process of things. Whereas nowadays, especially with the way technology is and everything like that, is like, in social media, obviously, it's a lot more accessible, for both a client and also a coach to build the business to attract the client. So, um, yeah, I think the salary aspect is definitely something that people can really look into, because you just literally hit a ceiling, and 9 times out of 10 you go in for a promotion, you probably don't get it, because they don't want to pay you more to do the same job, do they? So,
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the biggest investment you'll always make in life is in yourself, and there are a lot of roles out there that 5, 6, 7 years can go by, and there hasn't really been any learning, there hasn't really been any progressing. Your job is to just tick off the same boxes every single day, so a bigger fish can just do what it needs to do. Whereas when you're working for yourself, every day is a learning curve. Every day there's an opportunity to meet someone, to connect with other people, to really push the bounds of what you think is possible. And a lot of the things that have come, especially through my life, would never have happened in a 9 to 5 role.
mhm,
And it's even outside of the earning potentials. It's just how you live your life, how you manage the downsides as well as the upsides. The the whole life holistically becomes so much better because you have so many opportunities that you can say yes to that you wouldn't get in a 9 to 5. You wouldn't be shown those opportunities, you wouldn't have access to them. You would just be ticking off boxes and just on that hamster wheel, which for me leads to a word that comes to my mind a lot, of purpose. Like, what is the purpose in your life if you were doing that all the time? Whereas when you're
mm,
working in the fitness industry, you are genuinely changing lives. And a lot of our clients, they have this, they don't want to seem salesy, but it's like, no, you have a moral obligation to help these people. If your program can support them and they genuinely want to work with you, you have a moral obligation to help them because they need that help and they want to get it from you. And it's such a great life to be in a position where you can help people day in, day out to make life changing transformations that genuinely wouldn't have happened without you. The payment doesn't even come into it at that point. It's such a huge thing for you. So, having that kind of life for me personally was so attractive
mm,
compared to just essentially wasting away, which is an opportunity that we have in our lives that 30-year-olds didn't get 20 years ago, they didn't get 40 years ago, 50 years ago. We have such a great opportunity here where we can do that. We can work with people across the world, we can create real lifelong change and have a really good time doing it. So I think there's something to think about in that side of things, and not just always what am I getting for, oh, this job pays 30 grand a year, 40 grand a year. It's like, yeah, but what does it take to get there? And if you are looking at the 6 figure salaries, as Joe was touching on, typically you are C-suite level, and that takes decades to get to. There's only one job at the top. There's only one CEO, CCO, CFO. There's only one of those positions. And I've worked with people who have been CEOs at their own company and they've been forced out and had to leave. Whereas if you can work for yourself and do your own thing, no one's coming for you, no one's gunning for you. It's just you versus you supporting your clients, you changing lives every single day. And you'll get to the point where people in your life will be like, how are you doing this? What is happening? How do you live this way? Why are you so happy? How are you in such great shape? How are you doing all of this? And you'll be able to answer with a smile.
mm,
Yeah, you'll definitely get questions at the start, right?
Yeah.
And when you start to do when you start to like post on socials and stuff like that, you're like, well, I remember my first ever like talking video, and people are just like,
what are you
what
doing?
the hell? I remember like my brother texting me and being like, well, why are you talking on camera? Like, what is this thing?
Mm.
So it is really weird at the start, and we understand that. But like, um, again, if you want like this life, and obviously we haven't touched on like the location freedom as well.
Yeah.
Like, you've obviously got the financial side, which is seemingly gross, but you can earn more. Like, it's okay to earn more money. And the funny thing is though, is like if you go to America,
Mm.
they're so like
They love it.
they love it.
Mm.
You come to England or you're in the like Europe, it's kind of like you talking about money's like a bit gross. But it's like, number one, it's okay to earn more money. Everyone wants to earn more money. You want to earn more money.
Mm.
Like we all
We
do.
all
Like it's
do,
okay
yeah.
to admit that. So there's that aspect, but um, I think from the location point as well, like you can literally pick up your laptop and just go to the other side of the world and do the same thing. So
Mhm.
you've got like the time freedom beyond a point, because the time freedom is obviously you can have to work hard, but it's on your own time. You have the financial freedom because everything that you do, you're going to be growing your own finances.
Mhm.
And then you can take your laptop and move anywhere in the world. Um, so there's a location freedom as well,
Mhm.
which I think is very important.
So what I would ask then, like, so for people who are watching who are in maybe a 9 to 5 and they have this ambition to grow an online fitness business, like maybe they've got 1 or 2 clients or they help people out, like family, friends, and stuff like that. Is like what if you were to give like the 3 things that they would need to have in place, or they need sort of to put in place to then go into this as like an online coach, I suppose. So, like I know the first thing you always say is they have to have like a clear offer.
Yeah, I mean, number one, I think number one, most importantly, is like, have you been through your own journey? Which, like, if you're watching this video and you clicked on the video, like, you probably have been through your own journey, right? And like we've been through our own like personal journey, especially fitness wise. And that could be anything. Like, you could, I don't know, you've lost 60 pounds of fat, you've gained muscle, for example, right? Um, you're at the position where you can actually help someone do the same thing because you've been through that experience. So I think one of the biggest questions is like, well, like, I don't know how to coach people. It's like, yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
you've been through your own things. That has a massive like learning curve all by itself.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you've been through your own thing, and then you help people, and say for example you get to like 30, 40 clients, and then someone else is inspired to do their own thing, you're creating like a larger impact. Because what I have found, and we've seen this with loads of our coaches, right, is that they've helped people. So they started fitness coaching, they've helped loads of people. Someone here has then became a fitness coach, they've helped loads of people. So your like impact on the industry is like never ending, which is why I like TCT, because like we're building that like ecosystem like
Mm-hmm.
every single day, really, right?
Yeah.
So I guess like one, have you been through your own journey? Two, like, yeah, your own journey is your niche. Like, everyone's like, well, I don't know what my niche is. It's like, well, it's always a formal version of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the easiest one of all time. And then three, like, just guidance. Like, I know this is selfish, this is a massive plug, but like if you have guidance and you like go and do this, then you're gonna do it because you've done that with your own fitness journey, right? But they're the three things
Mm.
that I look for.
Yeah. It just means, especially with the last one with the guidance side, is like, especially if you are working a 9 to 5 is, and then you are putting extra hours into building your businesses, the last thing you want to do is waste those hours doing the wrong thing or trying things and seeing what sticks and what doesn't. Whereas if you have that clear path of do this, do this, do this, those additional, like say, extra hours that you're putting around side your 9 to 5 is going to accelerate you to a place quicker where then you can be like, right, okay, I can drop to part time, I can drop the job. Um, and I think that comes with people where they're like, oh, but I'm in my 9 to 5, like I don't have time or I don't know what. And it's like, well, this is the point, is like, let's make the most out of the additional time that you do have so that you can get rid of that 9 to 5 and be earning a lot more money and not have to be spinning your wheels and trying things and being like, oh, I've saw this and I've tried that. And what about the Instagram algorithm and blah, 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 all this type of rubbish. We like, especially here, we can just be like, this is what you need to go and do, go and action it. Oh, great, you've got clients now. Essentially. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's that whole tried and tested, like money loves speed. And I've always thought that I would rather just pay someone for an answer, which is essentially what you're doing when you have a book. You buy a book for £7, it's got 30 years worth of someone's experiences that you no longer then have to go and live. You can just surmise it from their book. That's the same thing when you're working with a company like TCT, is you have the sales side of things, the operations side of things, the community side of things, the graphics and social media side of things. You have everything you need. We have a team to support you in that aspect, and we come at it like we are part of your team. We're not looking at this like, cool, you paid your fees, now just crack on. It's like, no, like, what do you need from us? How can we help you? Like, what is working, what's not working? We actively want to see you win, because that's the kind of people we are. And that's, you're getting an accumulative 40, 50 years worth of working experience from our team in so many different areas to be in your corner fighting your fight, as opposed to just giving you a PDF and saying, cool, good luck, come to us in 12 weeks and see what happens. It's every single day. It's in there like, what do you need? How are you implementing? What is going to be the best thing for your business with your niche and how you work as a human being? And that, for me, whenever I've done loads of growth, I've always looked for who can help me in that realm. And that's what we try to be at TCT, is we want to be that support. We don't just want to be someone that's just churning out more and more people. We want to be there helping you directly. And as someone that's been on the team now for a while, well, at least 6 months now, maybe longer, I'm still baffled every single day at the level of one-to-one support there is. And I have friends that have been in other programs that say that the one thing they're missing is one-to-one support. And I feel really proud to be part of the TCT team, knowing that we offer that daily. And it doesn't matter. And we are checking in on ourselves every single week, going, guys, where are the team at? Who needs what? Who's best place here? If someone asks a question, we are then sending the right person to them, because that's the best thing that's going to make you win. Or you go away and you spend 4 years trying to do it around your 9 to 5, and you may or may not get there. Whereas we have the tried and tested methods, and we have full support for you in the back end, which is something I'm, as someone that's on the team, is really proud to be a part of. And I see how hard these guys work as well. It's elite.
Yeah, I think like the good thing is with the team that we have now is like we've been through, like I have been through the 9 to 5 into the online route you have as well. You know, like Joe's like in person over in that side. So there's loads of different like our avatars really are basically like those three camps, right? Struggling online coach, in person to online, and then 9 to 5 to online. And we actually we've all been through that transition. So like if someone has a question within TCT, it's like, well, this is what we did, right?
And that's how we got it.
And we help coaches all the time in that realm as well. So
Mhm.
but the thing is with like 9 to 5, and obviously we'll try and wrap up this video because it's a lengthy one. But the thing that I'll always warn people with a 9 to 5 situation is you have your 9 to 5 role, and then you have online. Um, there is never like one of the biggest issues that I see with 9 to 5 and online is when to drop this. And I will say, like, trying to drop this and go full time online is going to be one of the hardest decisions you're ever going to have, because, like, you have the security of this, but just know if you have loads more time with the online side, this is going to grow really, really fast. But understand, like, I 100% get this, like, decision you're going to have to make where, like, oh my God, I'm going to have to quit this. And it's like, I think when, like, I've made loads of decisions in my business over years and years and years, that choice there was like fundamentally the hardest I have ever made. So I will like pre-warn everyone, like this, like even if you are like really successful with this one, which is online, making the leap is still tough. I mean, you know that as well, right?
But like the only thing I'd caveat that with is, realistically, is if you spent 5 years or whatever in a 9 to 5, you have learned and developed skills within whatever industry you're in, and there's always opportunity to go back. There is that, like, we really, like, it's like that's the last thing obviously you want when you go into it, run your own business. But those skills and that experience you've learned doesn't just go away. You live with that forever. You'll have that skill set. So whether it is like, you manage a warehouse or you do whatever, you will always have that skill, and you'll have that on your CV, that if you do, you know go with another mentorship and it flops, because obviously it wouldn't if you were with us. But that yeah, that that you have that little bit of a safety net. So I can understand, like Jack said, it is difficult and it is a gamble. But like, we joke, because obviously, like, the Wolf of Wall Street It's like
Yeah.
show me you can do this, and I'll join. And it was kind of like that kind of conversation. But like I am a risk averse person to some degree, but I just knew I had to put my eggs in one basket and just jump and go. And like I'm living proof it's paid off. I mean, I'm earning personally now. I'll be earning like 3 or 4 times my monthly salary from when I was online when I was 9 to 5. So yeah, like I mean, if that gives any people like sort of little comfort, and yeah, I know a lot of our coaches. We've got a lot of coaches who have done the same.
Mhm.
I mean, just to name a few off the top of our head, we've got like Mark Seggy. He was police. I think he even said he was earning like £1,800, and he's like now 4 or 5 times that, doing a job he loves. Cammy Duncan obviously was 9 to 5 engineering. He gained 13 clients in the first like week and a bit, and recently he's just hit 13k a month. So there's so many I can name off the top of my head, but this has gone on for a little while, so I think we do need to wrap it up. But you can literally just look on our page and you would see the people that have achieved exactly what we're talking about, to be quite honest. But yeah, so if they want to apply, Jack,
Link in bio. Link in bio.
link in bio, guys. So yeah, cool.